different people calling saying, hey, you know, we're kind of looking for somebody to lead this or lead that. Would y'all consider that? And the thing that blessed me so much about Pastor Kim is he didn't want anything from me. He didn't want to use us for anything other than he said, you know, he said, you guys just need to rest. He said, you need to come in and you just need to get fed and you need to heal. And I just saw how beautiful was that spirit, that he could sense that. And he knew what we needed for, 6-8 months, that we were just able to come here and sit under him and get fed and just take it in. And, not much time went by, 2 or 3 months, that I was kind of getting the itch to play. And so I started helping the worship pastor that was here and just playing bass a little bit and playing guitar some and singing on the praise team. And I guess we've been here about 9 months. I get the same call from Pastor Kim that the worship leader here had resigned. And so we're sitting, I think, at the same restaurant having coffee again and having dinner this time. And just, he's like, I need your help. And so it's just amazing how God, through all of that, he kept opening those doors and he kept making a way for us. And should I keep on my task here? I think the biggest thing, I knew I was working a full-time corporate job, even though everything in me is wanting to do full-time ministry for so long, but I still had to provide for my family. I didn't know how to make that happen. And but as I went through, we're searching and we're seeking and I know God's going to make a way. And I was talking to Tony Greaves and every couple months or so, and one Sunday or one Saturday morning I was talking to him and I'm like, brother, I said, I don't know how to get there. I'm just stuck. I feel like there's all these obstacles in my way. Financially, Nina and I had been saving for 2 or 3 years. We've been working towards this and doing our part. But I said, I don't know how to get there. And he said, well, brother, it's funny. He said, I'm teaching a Sunday school lesson tomorrow on stepping out of the boat, and how you got to take that next step. And I said, you know what, I think so. And so Nina and I began to pray, and so we're like, I've got to set a date, because I knew I had to physically in my mind set a date. And so we decided October 1st that no matter what happens, that we believe that God is going to provide and that He's going to honor that. So we set that date, and I wanted to give, because of what I do, I manage a pretty big team for the company that I work for, and I wanted to give them time to hire someone. And so I wanted to give my boss about 6 to 8 weeks. So I remember going in, had my resignation written out, and I gave it to my boss, and he just kind of sit there and he looks at me. He goes, you might as well have punched me. He goes in the gut. He goes, I'm sick. He goes, I don't know what to say. He goes, there's nothing I can say. He goes, this is not about money. He goes, you're not wanting more money. He goes, I can't. He goes, you're quitting to go into ministry. He goes, I don't even know how to respond to that. He goes, I can't throw anything at you. I can't throw money at you. I can't throw. And he goes, well, let me just tell you. He said, our senior VP and the company president will be calling you because they're going to be upset about this, about you leaving. And I said, well, that's fine, but it's not going to change my mind. He said, well, let me just tell you, they're going to throw a lot of money at you, and they're going to try to do different things. And one of the things, like I said, Nina and I had started, the Dave Ramsey program several years ago, and so we've been able to, we don't believe in debt or credit card, and it's taken years to pay a lot of those things off, but it's still difficult. I did not want my family. Nina has not had to work outside of the home since Isaiah was born almost 15 years ago, so I did not want her to have to do that. And she was, thank the Lord, she's such an incredible wife that she was willing. She was out putting out applications, and she was willing to do whatever it took, because we knew that we could not raise our family of 5 on an entry-level music minister's salary. And so, but at the same time, everything in us knew that we had to take that step. I had to step out onto the water. And so a couple of weeks later, they didn't do anything with my resignation. They wouldn't accept it. They kept giving it back to me, the letter. He's like, well, I just want you to hold this, you know, and I'm like, well, it's not going to change. So I wrote another resignation letter, and I emailed it, and then I copied my boss, and I copied the company president, and so a couple days later, our senior VP, who's over all of company growth and development, the company I work for, we build about 1,200 buildings a year. So this fastest growing retailer in the United States. So it's a major program. And so she sits down and she says, well, I just want to show you what you're walking away from. And some of you guys that are corporate guys know what the term golden handcuffs. I don't know if you ever heard of the golden handcuffs, but basically they give you percentages of stock options and different equity that's basically you only get it if you stay at a place for a very long period of time. And so I built up a lot of stock options over 6 years that were worth as much as my house. Let's put it this. So it's not, you know, it's not a massive fortune, but it was my retirement. And by resigning, you know, the thing our SVP was telling me, she said, now you realize when you walk away, we consider that you're quitting without good cause. She said, so you lose all of this. Of course, she's got everything printed out. I knew what it was, but you know, she's mapping it out. And now you realize that by July of next year, you know, this is gonna, you can cash all this in. And she goes, I can't imagine if you don't want it that your church wouldn't want it.